Good Sunday morning to you all. We have another major update out here. Watchmen reports coming in. We got big news items, major egg recall of organic brown eggs. We're going to talk about a big China deal that just came through that will open up trade. We got the latest here for you. We'll bring you up to speed on some of the big moves in silver this past week. That's big news out there amongst the silver bugs. Pretty big moves. And we got Iran out there shopping for weapons of terror, a lot of them. And DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, greenlit to get back into the Social Security records. This was by the U.S. Supreme Court. That, and we got a bunch of other Watchmen updates. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. We also want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help make this all possible. They've been partners with this channel for over 3 years now, and I've heard nothing but good things from you guys. Those of you who have talked to them, those of you who have moved forward with them, have just been treated really well, and they've explained everything. They've educated you on stuff. They haven't pushed stuff on you. If you want to get some information from them or we want to have a chat with them, there'll be a link at the end of the video. All right, silver price. Speaking of precious metals, silver price is up a lot. You can put silver in your IRA 401k with Genesis Gold too. But just in the past week, it's been up 9%. So it was hovering around the $33 range per ounce. But now it's up to $36 per ounce. So a big move just in the past week has got a lot of people talking. Also, kind of the technicals of it. It did do a breakout. So it's punching through some of the recent highs over the last several years and is going higher, it looks like. So we'll probably keep going up for a bit. But if you're expecting to see $33 or less for a price of an ounce of silver, again, you probably will be waiting, I don't know, maybe forever. We'll see. We got that happening. Supreme Court allows the DOGE team to access the Social Security system's data again. There was a lawsuit, and then it went through this court, went through that court. Basically, they didn't want Elon Musk and the DOGE team looking at the Social Security rolls of who is actually getting money. So apparently, President Trump is not allowed to look at that or appoint anyone who can look through the Social Security logs to make sure that the people getting the money are actually legitimate people. Funny how that works. Anyway, but the Supreme Court said, no, actually the head of the executive branch does have the right to appoint people to review the information in the executive branch. I mean, and that seems common sense, but that's a rare thing these days. The Food and Drug Administration has initiated a recall for 1.7 million eggs. So not a small number, a big number of eggs. This is across 9 states. At least 79 people have already gotten sick from salmonella due to these eggs. These eggs are brown, organic eggs linked to the August Egg Company. So if you buy August Egg Company eggs, be aware that there's a major recall happening. I don't know if it's all of their eggs or if just some of their eggs, but apparently it's limited to that brand. So please be aware of that. Make sure your friends and family members know about that too if they're into eating those type of eggs. A massive deal has been struck, according to the Trump administration, that President Xi and President Trump had a conversation over the phone, and they've greenlit the restarting of shipments of rare earth minerals. They've just approved, I think, 3 U.S. car makers for export licenses so that they can, basically import rare earth minerals from China for their cars. A lot of these rare earth minerals mostly are magnetic. So if you got electric vehicles, they need a lot of rare earths. Computers need them. And then there's other things that are used for like the making of the glass of touch screens and things like that. Also, Iran's buying stuff from China too. Apparently, they put in another order for fuel for 800 ballistic missiles. Now, we had that little bit of a problem that happened in the Iranian port just the other week, and that was a previous shipment of the rocket fuel that they brought in from China that spontaneously combusted. Well, that's they want to bring more of it in. They want more of this rocket fuel, and they're building ballistic missiles right and left because that's what all the smart people out there are doing. I mean, we're up against these other countries who have a very limited defense budget, and they realize that they can't build stealth fighters for a third of $1 billion apiece. They just can't keep pace with the United States building things, but they realize that they don't need a super expensive jet fighter if they have a ballistic missile. A ballistic missile can go where it needs to go. You can spend billions and billions of dollars building a ship, or you can spend tens of millions of dollars building a missile that can sink the ship, or at least hopefully can sink the ship. It's really just a cost-benefit kind of analysis, and that's why China has been investing so heavily into missiles. That's why Russia has been investing in missile defense systems and air defense systems for so long, is they couldn't keep up with the United States building of stealth fighters, stealth bombers. So the idea was invest all of their money and energy into developing extremely good air defense systems that can shoot down those stealth fighters and stealth bombers. So it's much cheaper to do that than to develop your own stealth fighters and stealth bombers. And by doing so, you still kind of level the field, but for a lot cheaper. And so these other countries, they're investing in missiles, not in fifth generation, sixth generation aircraft. And Russia, speaking of Russia, has just offered political asylum to Elon Musk. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to move over to Russia. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. I could see him moving to China long before he moves over to Russia. Anyway, Russia just has to go in for the social media win, right? AZ Planner says not all illegal immigrants have their own papers. Not all of them got papers from the Biden administration, in other words. They buy them from agencies and scammers and stuff using someone else's social security number. I received a call once from a mother back east who was upset. She applied for social services when she lost her job, but was denied because one of her children's social security numbers had a history of working in Arizona. E-Verify had caught that, and that employee was fired, and but the damage was done. And the mother was left having to get that cleared up so that the denial could be lifted. E-Verify takes a few weeks to let a company know that there's a problem with that social security number. Well, now you know a little more about that. And so protect your social security number as best you can. Hopefully people aren't using it fraudulently. And if so, the burden's on you to clear it up. Funny how that works. Linda says Illinois property taxes have more than doubled in just the past couple of years. That's a big number. Lewis says here in the Chicagoland area, we've lately been getting two different brands, speaking of bananas, that we've never seen before. One's called World Direct and the other is called Don Coco. Apparently both of them came from Mexico. Maybe might not need to worry too much about the Chiquita brand bananas as long as they're still available from elsewhere. Well, possibly, but Chiquita is still the biggest, right? And you can't just move products around. The products need to exist first before they can get moved around. So we may end up paying more than the rest of the world's willing to pay for the bananas and still get them. but that means prices will be up for us and other countries are going to have to do without. So shortages are shortages. David says, a friend of mine had desiccant or moisture absorbent in a fire-rated safe that held some of his boomsticks. The desiccant was in a can and it spilled. The result was that it damaged and corroded all the stainless steel items it came in contact with. Note that duct tape will also corrode stainless steel. Just a heads up for those people who store things in secure spaces. So be careful with that desiccant and make sure you're protecting your boomsticks, right? They're kind of expensive. Sweet and Spicy One says, very important information about AI. I had someone who called me using my husband's voice while he was sitting next to me to tell me that he was in jail and he needed me to provide a credit card number for his bond money. Crazy times we're living in. This is why you do not use your voice to confirm stuff on the phone, like when it asks you to enter your numbers. Never say them. Punch them in. But this is really helpful advice here. All children should have a code word known only by them and you. That's a good idea for just about everybody, okay? If you have any question whether a person is real or not, you need to have like security questions that you know that they'll give you answers that nobody else could get, or better yet, have some code phrases, right? Ask them the health of their pet that died a few years ago, or something along those lines, right? Just make sure that you have some sort of way of communicating and verifying that the people that you're talking to are who they say they are. Because today, they can absolutely pretend to be someone else. They can intercept people's voices and they can pretend to be people. So please, please, please do not depend on just hearing people's voice, but make sure that if there's any kind of request for money or something like that, have some way that you're going to verify that the person is who they say they are and that that's a legitimate request. Solar to Go says they put manure in dried pet food and they list it as animal products. Well, it is a product that comes out of animals, so it is an animal product, but yeah, be aware of what's actually in your pet's food. Absolutely, we're hearing a lot of bad reports about that stuff. So now, not every brand is necessarily the same, but we've been seeing what they've been doing with human food. And if you think they're not doing the same thing with pet food, but worse, I don't know. Maybe you're not cynical enough. Because as one person put it, I was reading through the comments, they said, you can never be too cynical. That's an awfully cynical kind of way of thinking about things, but I don't know, maybe you're not wrong. Dr. Holistic Hippie says, the dented can issue isn't limited to any one store. I usually order 6 cases of Kroger seltzer water at a time. The last time I picked up my order in Brandon, Mississippi, Kroger, out of the 3 of the 6 cases, had over half the cans dented and or busted. The cardboard cases were soaked with the liquid. Doesn't anyone care anymore? There's people that care, but there's a whole lot more people that don't care anymore. Sherry says, beware if you operate on a Windows computer. If it will update to Windows 11 without your permission. Then you have the blue screen of death, like when Windows 10 updated from the 7 version. You'll lose everything if you don't have it backed up. So if you have a Windows computer, and honestly, if you have any computer at all, you really need to have a backup. You need to get an external hard drive and back things up yourself. You can pay for expensive services out there, but it's usually just cheaper to buy your own hard drive. If you don't have all that much stuff, you can get a thumb drive or a small little drive that you can plug in. But whatever you do, make sure that you have your digital stuff backed up, friends. I'm not trying to sell you anything right now. I'm just saying, as somebody who has had computers and phones die on them, and I've lost stuff that I wish I hadn't lost, pictures and digital records and stuff like that are more important than ever these days. So make sure that you have it backed up somewhere, okay? Cloud or your own hard drives or whatever. Maybe even make sure that your loved ones know where those things are. There's that too. Make sure that that your family members, if something happens to you, they can get into your digital records. That's another thing. So lots to think about. Anyway, Orlo says, I was cleaning through our attic and had some clothes stored up there from 20 years ago. All of my daughter's prom and evening gowns were made in the United States of America. Try finding that now. Truth. It's hard finding any kind of fabric or clothes that were made in the United States anymore. Kit says you can vac pack those yeast packets in a bag or a jar and freeze for a long time. Note the date, put it in your freezer, and then you can update the expiration date when you thaw them. So that, and then here's someone else talking about yeast as well. Babalu says, for bakers, yeast is a prepping item. I have always kept bulk yeast in my freezer. I have at least 12 pounds in the freezer and currently using yeast from 2003. 2003. Sourdough is too hard to maintain. So lots and lots of yeast. And of course, once you get your yeast started, you can kind of use it from there. So all right, friends, those are the updates from today. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do through your retirement account, there's a link right there on the screen. Let me know what you think about the flag up there. Unfortunately, I can't reverse it because it's only one-sided. But yeah, some of you guys mentioning about the Texas flag. We had it up there for the border issues, but they're not so much issues these days anymore. So yeah, it does make sense to maybe see about swapping out the flag. Let me know what you think about that. And if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.